think the standard pretentious answer that most musicians don't like comparing themselves to other people, but I think my music is, each song is very different than the last one. There's influences all over the board. So my records tend to sound quite chaotic, anything from, psych rock to, to jazz to, sort of, you could say like classical pop or, so it's all over the map. And I think that's what my sort of fan base has come to expect from me is just kind of music that's a bit out there and unhinged, but I like to think that my records kind of make sense when you put all the craziness together. I'm from Philadelphia. I moved to Manchester in 2012 to sort of restart my career. I had a half-decent career in America in the mid-2000s, and I sort of fell out of love with music, so I moved to England to kind of jolt my system. And I ended up writing a record called How to Die in the North that got a lot of attention and eventually got signed by Bella Union Records. While this was all going on, I sustained an injury in the country, and I had to ask the Home Office to if it was okay if I applied for my visa extension while I was in the country, because my doctors wouldn't let me fly home to do it. Long story short, they didn't go for that. So the day after How to Die in the North came out in January 2015, I was deported from the country and banned from coming back because they saw me as an overstayer. Luckily, it turns out I'm an Italian citizen, and I didn't even know. So I got my Italian passport eventually, after a year and a half of just the worst time in my life. Got back to Manchester and recorded Deportation Blues, as sort of chronicling everything that had happened to me, and sort of under the backdrop of Brexit and Donald Trump and all of that stuff. And it's been, I think it's sort of resonated with some people. Initially, I was a bit hesitant. I thought in the back of my mind that I was going to be playing like, in between the self-help section and the children's books, and a few people squeezed in, but we showed up in Hull, and it was the last show of the tour, and it was fantastic. It was a rock show, it was a few hundred people there screaming, and it's certainly changed my mind. So we're back to do another one here in Lancaster, and we're looking to knock a couple bookshelves down. I'm literally the worst person to ask this question, probably, literally. I have a very strange brain, and I barely ever listen to any music. I don't have a CD player, I don't have a vinyl player, tape player, anything like that. When I do listen to something, and this is going to sound pretentious, but it's usually some sort of a soundtrack or some classical music. I have so much music going on in my head 24 hours a day to almost a diagnostic way that I have trouble listening to music without dissecting it and without really, I can't enjoy it, So I spend most of my time in the van with sort of noise-canceling headphones while other people listen to music. It took me a long time to start getting some notoriety, and I think the reason that I have is because I've always been myself. I never had any interest in sounding like whatever band was doing well. I never had any interest in being in a music scene, anything like that. I said, I'm always going to be me, and I think that that's really important for young musicians and artists to just forget about what their friends are doing or who's popular, and be yourself. That's the only way to really develop who you are. That's what I think. And the other thing is just to keep going.